It's a good thing I've got some other stuff to talk about, because this was a one-match show. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your, January 24th NXT review. And like I say, the review for NXT is going to be relatively short. I'm really going to go into super detail on maybe one match. But more important to that, I got a lot of other stuff to talk to you guys about, so I'm going to take this opportunity to do that. You know, normally I would say, okay, you know, let me get the house cleaning out of the way, but there's a fair bit to talk about here, so I'm just I'm going to hit some things at some quick bullet point type of deal. Sorry, tired a little bit out of it, so I hope you'll bear with me. First and foremost, for those of you that have been following me for a long time, you'll understand this maybe more than some other people that are new. This week, we finally turned this channel over to 700 subscribers. I think we're actually sitting at 702 right now. Now, 700, in the grand scheme of things, is not huge. I don't have any delusions of that, but what you guys need to understand, and what most of you do understand, for about a year, I sat at between 695 and 699, 698, 697, 699, because the sub boxes were so fucked up. So the fact that we're finally over that 700 mark is absolutely fantastic. Big shout out to all the I could start naming people off, but I will forget people. People like Cheney, people like Mizark, people like strifenineteen, people like Zohan, people like Gary Monahan, people like I'm gonna forget people, I'm sorry. But all of you, Melvin Michaels, people over on Facebook and Twitter that support this this channel. Top of that list has got to be my my tackle co-hosts, Kristen and Guapo. They've been doing the tackle thing with me for a couple of years now, and they've also got in on a couple of the new off-the-cuff topical videos that have been quite a lot of fun. But mostly, all you guys, any of you guys that have sort of hopped on board, especially in the past week, to just get me over that hump, that's fucking great. Particularly with the Mixed Match Challenge. The Mixed Match Challenge videos that I've been doing have been going gangbusters as far as views compared to other things. Now, I know I don't review Raw and SmackDown. I do basically everything else. I do the Mixed Match Challenge. I do NXT. I do pay-per-view reviews, previews. I've reviewed every tournament that they've done in the past couple of years, except for the UK tournament, just because the layout of it was a bit awkward. I am... Laugh at me or not, that was a terrible time for my camera to cut out. Yeah, basically I review everything but Raw and SmackDown. I review everything but what most people are talking about. And I'm going to add to that, because starting next week, if timing works out okay, I'm about 99% sure on this, I'm going to start reviewing 205 Live. Because 205 Live is a lot of fun, and I don't think anybody talks about it. I'm not going to try and make it seem like it's the biggest deal in the world, but we're going to have to find a new Cruiserweight champion, and they're naming an actual a GM for 205 Live, which could be shit, couldn't it? They could bring in somebody like Rey Mysterio, and I will make fun of it a lot. But the fact that they're giving the show its own GM, I want to believe that they're going to do something with it. And there was no presence of the 205 Live guys for Raw 25. I mean, other than if they were doing dark matches at the Manhattan Center, but that's another story for another day. Gonna do that for a couple weeks, see what the reception is, see what you guys think of it. I mean, if you guys don't care, obviously it won't float. But if you do, then it'll be fun. And like I say, it's cool to do shit outside of Raw and SmackDown, because Raw and SmackDown are still fucking terrible. Royal Rumble is this weekend, and we're going to talk about that in a second too. I should be excited. We should be on the road to WrestleMania, and I am. I'm excited for Rumble. I'm excited for TakeOver. I'm excited for the pay-per-views between now and Mania. I'm excited for Mania, but I'm not excited to watch the SmackDowns and Raws going into it, so that's why I don't do it. But yeah, going to do the 205 thing, because it's like NXT. Less commercials, less filler, more matches, and more to talk about that way. And I think that works, and I think the way that I break down matches, I mean, even if you guys don't love it, you don't exactly hate it either. So as much as I'm rambling on that point, I am going to try and start doing that, hopefully next week. Not 100%, but 99%, but whatever. Speaking of 205, and the reason that that title has been abdicated, as WWE has put, is because of the entire Enzo Amore situation. And here we go. As I say, I started doing the Off the Cuff series, and I did some pretty controversial stuff right off the bat. Was my thoughts about Mia Khalifa, my thoughts on people's stupid accusations towards Samoa Joe. You know, got me a little bit of heat here and there, mostly people on Twitter telling me I'm a racist, telling me I'm a sexist, because they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm genuinely debating whether I should do a video about the Enzo Amore situation, because that's a bit deeper, that's a bit stickier. I have some thoughts. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you've probably heard some of my thoughts. But I really want your guys' input. I'm thinking about whether I want to do that video or not, because I'll tell you right now, I have some thoughts on the situation, and most people aren't going to like them. So if you want me to do that video, put it down in the box below, but it probably won't come out for another week or two, if that is the case. Going on, again, go back about 2 videos, and you will see a very extensive slideshow from the Destiny Pro Wrestling Carnage show that I was at on Sunday. Now, I'm not all of a sudden becoming an indie mark, but I will say, for about 20 bucks, it's cool for me to go to the Don Kolov Arena here in Mississauga and see Santino Marella's fed Destiny Wrestling. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of a couple of things. They did the Cobra Cup, which was Santino Marella's version of the Royal Rumble, and you get a trophy and you can cash it in on the Destiny Champion at any point you wish. Now, the winner of the Cobra Cup was a surprise entrant, somebody you may or may not know, the King of No Chin, James Ellsworth. So that was interesting, and that was a pretty cool thing. He got a hero's reception in the match, and then turned on the Greater Toronto Area crowd after the match was over. It was a lot of fun. And what did we do? What else did we see? We saw Evan Bourne take on Petey Williams, which was kind of fun. It was one match that they taped for Impact, which is odd. But then the main event for the Destiny Championship was Austin Aries versus Pete Dunne. Now, Pete Dunne is the Destiny World Champion, as well as being WWE's United Kingdom Champion. Austin Aries just has all the belts. So he comes out with like 4. You know, Pete Dunne comes out with his 2. They have a fantastic match. They chop the shit out of each other, and it was a great match until James Ellsworth tried to cash in his Cobra Cup, which was a little dinky trophy, and got the living shit kicked out of him by Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne won his match against Austin Aries by pinning James Ellsworth, which is nice. The other thing is they got this guy, the Walking Weapon, Josh, I can't even think of his last name right now, which is, hey, I got another new subscriber. That's fucking fantastic. It's Josh something, and I wish I could think of the name right now, but he had an open challenge, and his open challenge was answered by Mike Elgin. Now, Mike Elgin is another name that I've heard from the lips of my friends that are much more into the indie scene than I am, but it's a name that I recognized enough to be like, oh, that's who they were talking about. This dude's a fucking tank. I'm just saying. Now, if I'm not mistaken, his name was about the Twitter and the social media a little while ago, because apparently he did something that pissed off the social justice warriors. I don't care in the slightest. This guy and Destiny's guy, Josh the Walking Weapon, they destroyed each other. So it was a good show. I really do encourage you to go check out the slideshow. There's some videos at the end too. It's all... There's no order to it. There's just all the photos that I took, which is a lot, and they're shitty because they're done on my phone. And at the end, there's a couple of videos. The videos aren't in any order. I'm not a video editor at the best of times. You guys know this. But it is a lot of fun, and I do encourage anybody that is in the Greater Toronto area that can find your way to Mississauga to the Don Kolov Arena. And the Don Kolov Arena is basically Santino's gym. I really do encourage you to go check out a Destiny show. I don't know when the next one is going to be, but I'll probably be mentioning it because I'll probably be going. I seem to be going to a shit ton of shows the past little while. I went to the WWE Holiday Tour. I went to this show this past Sunday, the The name of the pay-per-view was Carnage, put on by Destiny Wrestling. I am still going to NXT Mississauga at the Hershey Center on February 22nd, if anybody would like to come up and say hello. Destiny Wrestling is hosting some Impact Wrestling tapings at the Don Kolov Arena on March 4th. So yeah, your boy is going to Impact Wrestling. Insert all the jokes you want down below. It's going to be a good time. And then the WWE Road to WrestleMania tour comes back to the Ricoh Coliseum March 23rd in Toronto. If you're going to any of these shows, if you know anybody that's going to any of these shows, you want to come up and say hello to me, I'm just putting it out there. Come shake my hand, high five me, do whatever, you know, bring me a Smirnoff if you really want to, that'd be cool. Tell me you like my videos, tell me you hate my videos, tell me you think I'm full of shit. It's always cool to see, with the 700 people that I have with me on this little journey, how many of them are actually local and how many of them are actually, you know, hop, skip, and a jump down the road. Go back a couple of videos, mentioned the Off the Cuff series a little while ago. The most recent Off the Cuff series that I did was one fantasy booking Jimmy Uso to the Universal Championship. Now, along the way, I do take shots at Jey Uso for the DUI and Roman Reigns for the steroid controversy that he's in right now. I want to clarify for people that were asking me, I am in no way, shape, or form saying that WWE should bring their real-life troubles into WWE. I am treating those two incidents as if they are kayfabe and part of a storyline, as part of this stimulus for this Jimmy Uso storyline. I don't want people to think I'm manipulating their real life, and people think I'm a little mean to Naomi because in the end she takes about 27 finishers. There's a little spoiler for you, but please go check that out. If you want to see me do more fantasy booking videos like these, I've done these very few and far between in the past 8 years that I've had this channel. If you want to see more of those, or if you have some booking ideas that you want to see what kind of fun I could have with them, please let me know. If you guys want it, if I have an audience for it, I would love to do some stuff like that occasionally. Now, mentioned Christian and Guapo a little while ago. We will indeed be doing the tackle, the preview video for not only TakeOver Philadelphia, but also the Royal Rumble, including the Women's Rumble and all that sort of thing. People have been trying to send me their predictions early for the pay-per-view pick 'em. I do appreciate it, and I do love the fact that you guys like this concept. It is a lot of fun. I will keep on keeping the scores from the pay-per-view pick 'em because I have a lot of fun doing it. Hosting this little contest that really has no stakes has been a lot of fun for me. We didn't do it in December because I took December off, but we come back in January and we're doing 2 in 1 weekend. I don't want your predictions yet. I have to be a little bit difficult with this one. I had to change the rules of the pay-per-view pick'em slightly for the Royal Rumble just because it's such a different sort of pay-per-view. So I will ask you to please tune in for the pay-per-view pick'em. Please tune in to the pay-per-view pick'em to hear the new sets of rules. There's also little spoiler for you once again. There will be ways for you guys to earn bonus points in the Royal Rumble edition of the pay-per-view pick'em. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to have a lot more flex to it than the pay-per-view pick'em usually does. And as I always do, check out the annotation up there. You'll see my last Q&A. You can leave your questions down there for the next Q&A. The next Q&A was supposed to be done yesterday. Life gets in the way. I had to push it to Friday, which means you have until Friday morning, not even two, maybe 1.5 days from now to get any last-minute questions in for that Q&A. I will be doing it at some point Friday afternoon. It will be up to you Friday evening, and that'll be that. And that, I believe, is all of the house cleaning. You've listened to me ramble for just about 11 minutes now. So now we can talk about the show. Going into this show, the only thing we really knew about was the #1 contenders match, Johnny Gargano versus Velveteen Dream. Now, I don't agree with this being a thing. You guys know how I feel about Velveteen Dream. The guy's athletic as fuck. He can get it done in the ring. His character is sort of ripped off Black Gold Dust. But I will give the guy credit where it's due. But I don't understand why Johnny Gargano would go into a fatal four-way against 3 monsters, get his #1 contendership against this guy that he's already struggled with enough in Andrade Cien Almas, and then risk it all against Velveteen Dream for reasons. We started off the night with a backstage segment, and it's overly edited. It's Velveteen Dream being awkward. is the best I could say. In the same way that the Gold Dust character back in the day was awkward, but there's CG smoke all around him, and it's purple and it's neon, and it's just annoying to the point where you don't even really know what he's saying, other than, you know, one way or another a dream is going to come true, and I don't care. Just get in the ring. Wrestle so I can give you credit. Don't cut stupid shitty promos like this so that I have to cut you down before your big main event. That was great. Now, show drags for a while. We got the return of No Way Jobber Zay versus Cesar Bononi, and I have notes for this match, but they're not worth mentioning. He wins with the stupid baseball punch. I don't care. We see a promo for Aleister Black versus Adam Cole, Extreme Rules at TakeOver. Now, the video package for this is great. I really wish, and this is something that's been said on the Taz show quite a bit. I mean, Taz was part of the original ECW. WWE, if they're not going to properly acknowledge ECW, has got to stop going with the, remember back in the days in the bingo hall, and we know the extreme history that happens in Philadelphia. I mean, the fans that get it, get it. You don't have to beat it over the head. That being said, this match could steal the show. Aleister Black versus Adam Cole, baby. Could be the match of the night. Adam Cole, I've been saying for the past little while, is reincarnated Shawn Michaels, or at least he's trying to be. And Aleister Black is one of the coolest guys they have on NXT right now. Looking very forward to it. I think they're going a little cliche with the Extreme Rules thing. I mean, Adam Cole's helpers, partners, associates, whatever you want to call them, Fish and O'Reilly are doing their own thing at the pay-per-view, so I don't know. Sorry, sinuses are fucked and whatnot. Speaking of people I don't care about, and I'm really trying to get over the stupid hair whip gimmick, but Bianca Belair took on some jobber named Latoya Alsop. And people care so much about Bianca Belair that this entire match, they were chanting, "Let's go, jobber." There's a front slam by Belair, collar and elbow tie-up, mudhole, corner spear, backbreaker, forearm, enziguri, stupid hair whip, inverted powerbomb. Belair gets the win, and I don't care. And again, it's one of those, she can get it done in the ring. You don't need to throw this little bullshit extra on there. It's like Velveteen Dream, and I want to say it's like No Way Jose, but No Way Jose just bothers me in general. Speaking of people that bother me in general, Percy Watson interviews Ember Moon and Shayna Baszler, and the one that annoys me in this situation is Percy Watson, because he shouldn't be doing interviews. He just shouldn't. I thought the promo was going to go well in the beginning when Ember Moon started on a tirade about how, we know where you came from and you're just a bully and you think you can come into our division, which I think is great. I think they can. I think they could have played off, she's from the UFC, this is WWE, you might have done something over there in UFC, but this is our yard now. They had her be all territorial and shit. If she had stayed on that wavelength, I would have been fine. But then Shayna Baszler comes with the, well, why did I do what I did? Well, you need to stir the water to catch fish. And then Ember Moon goes full Cena promo about, what it means to be champion, and we have a code of honor in the back, and you have no respect for anybody, and rah. They overhumanize Ember Moon, which is unfortunate, because hers is a character that I love. Her promos, when they're short, sweet, and to the point, are great. When she goes all off like this and tries to be like the locker room leader type deal, it doesn't translate as well as I think they think it does. Let me just say that. We saw the TM61 biography video that they did last week. This was part 2. I started getting other notes ready for this show while this was going on, because I can't be paid to give a shit about TM61. And they're back next week. Yay, which means they'll be on the NXT that is taped before TakeOver, and we'll see it the week after. And you guys know me, I'm not even sure if I'm going to review that show. Or am I? Authors of Pain beat some jobbers pretty convincingly, and then they shout at the ROH boys, not in English, so I don't know what they said. So, yay. I might change my mind and watch NXT next week, and I might review it next week, because Nikki Cross is taking on Lacey Evans. Now, Lacey Evans just went through this weird heel turn where she's like super classy and everybody else isn't, and she's gonna class up the joint type thing, kind of like the heel Bobby Roode thing. She's going to come up across my girl Nikki Cross and hopefully get destroyed, which will make me very, very happy. Anyways, enough of that bullshit. Let's talk about what we're here to talk about. Johnny Gargano versus Velveteen Dream for the #1 contendership for the NXT Championship at TakeOver Philadelphia against Andrade Cien Almas. Color and elbow tie-up to start. Oh, sorry, I should say two things. Velveteen Dream comes out in a shredded Johnny Gargano t-shirt, Mind Games and such, the same as Almas did to Johnny Gargano right after he broke up with Ciampa and the whole DIY thing. So the t-shirt, you know, we're gonna use t-shirts to play Mind Games with Johnny Gargano. If that's a story that they're gonna keep playing up, it is a little cheesy, but it's a kind of cheesy that I can get behind. Second of all, these guys are both over as fuck. The chants throughout this match, and it wasn't just like, you know, it didn't just come in waves. It was pretty much the whole match, you know, Johnny wrestling Velveteen, Johnny wrestling Velveteen, but it didn't. You know, when a chant rises like that, okay, you do it up until the next big spot, and then they stop, and then they get back into the match. But they just didn't stop in this entire match. It was noticeable. And it was one of those, like, even as I'm taking my notes on the Doomy clipboard of Doom here, you had to almost stop and re-watch it just to re-listen to the chanting, because they got a hell of a pop there. I will say they are still at the center stage thing where they used to apparently do the WCW tapings. You guys know me, I wasn't a big WCW guy, but it is weird that there's basically only fans on one side of the ring. Now, on the one hand, wrestlers have to play to the camera, so realistically they have to do whatever they're doing facing the camera, but as far as performing live, you're performing all to one side of the camera, and I have to imagine that would throw some wrestlers off. I mean, some of the guys that have been in the indies, I don't know what kind of venues they've been in, so I really shouldn't be saying that. But it is very strange when you look across, the odd time you get a shot from the other side and you shoot across the ring and there's nobody there. Now, they don't do it very often. They always try to shoot it from the side where the stage is so that they're always shooting the crowd, which is, you know, that's just the cinematography end of it. But, I mean, I have to imagine that that's really, really different for the wrestlers. It will be cool to see them in an arena for TakeOver, in an arena for NXT next week, and then after that, I don't know where they're going. Are they going back to Full Sail? If anybody knows, you can tell me down in the box below. But collar and elbow tie-up, and Dream works the arm. Gargano reverses the arm lock, and the front face lock by Gargano. Chain wrestling by both men. Snapmare by Dream, and Gargano goes for the Gargano escape early. Gargano kicks Dream off the apron, and he lands face first on commentary. That's the other reason I want to mention that that they were at the center stage and the setup being completely different. The setup they have at Full Sail is kind of reminiscent of a Monday Night Raw in the sense that the commentators are not at ringside. They're sort of up to the side of the ramp, like Michael Cole and Corey Graves and Booker T are on Raw. Whereas, while they've been at center stage, they've been ringside, which means when he gets kicked off of the apron, Velveteen Dream's face can indeed hit the commentary table. Running apron senton by Gargano and a slingshot spear as they get back in the ring. He goes for the slingshot spear, but he got caught by Dream, and Dream turned it into a neckbreaker. Now, my immediate thought, because I love, you guys know that have been watching me for a long time, I love Johnny Gargano's slingshot spear. I think it is a pretty move, and it's a move you can do on anybody, which should be the test of any move. But I'm picturing this guy all of a sudden on the main roster. I'm picturing that guy in the ring with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton countering that slingshot spear into the suspension DDT. It's going to happen at one point, and I'm going to mark out when it does. Boot by Dream, who tosses out Gargano. Snake Eyes on the guardrail by Dream is always nasty. Chops by Gargano and body shots by Dream. Running clotheslines by Gargano and a step up enziguri. A rolling kick and a top rope tornado mic check by Gargano. Wasn't expecting that one. Arm drag by Gargano and a pinning reversal sequence to follow. Rebound lariat by Gargano, and both men trade punches for a while. Another step up enziguri by Gargano. DDT by Dream. The DDT by Dream, I'm not sure who missed what, but the DDT kind of looked awkward. Not holding it against the two of them, but it was very noticeable. Dream gets crotched and falls to the outside and eats a suicide dive by Gargano. When they get back in the ring, Gargano gets crotched and then gets cradled by Dream into a second rope Death Valley driver, which was nice. They brawl a little bit. They punch each other back to their feet. Super kick, Gargano escape. Gargano wins the match. And Gargano is still going on to face Andrade Cien Almas. Dream sort of makes his way to the back. Gargano's celebrating in the ring. And then Andrade Cien Almas and the Spanish Trish Stratus Selena Vega come out. They try to give him a beatdown. He comes back with a slingshot DDT that puts Almas on his face. And then he looks at the belt. And there's cool little dramatic things that Johnny Gargano does. Looks at the belt, sort of reaches out, thinking about touching it, thinking about not touching it, you know, being superstitious like that. And the crowd starts chanting, touch it, touch it, touch it. And then he picks up the belt, and he does finally stand victorious with the belt over his head, you know, indicating that's what's going to happen this Saturday. And then you get, here's where fans are dicks. I mean, I get it. You can cheer for whoever you want. You can boo whoever you want. But, you know the way the story's going. You know, the people start the "you deserve it" chant. You deserve it. You deserve it. But then you get a couple of people who want to bounce it back. So very quickly it becomes, you deserve it. No, you don't. And I'm like, who the hell is booing Johnny Gargano at this point? And I mean, I booed Daniel Bryan at the bullshit WrestleMania moment that he had. So I'm probably the last person that should be pointing this out, and I'm the last person that should be judging anybody for it. And I'm not really. But in my own mind, I'm just sitting there and I'm watching the show and I'm thinking, okay, in this moment, who the fuck is booing Johnny Gargano? Anyways, that was NXT. Like I say, great match, great main event, but doesn't change that it was a one-match show. This Saturday, and we're going to talk about it during the tackle, myself, Christian, and Guapo, the show, the TakeOver Philadelphia, unless I'm missing something, and please, please, please put it down in the box below if I am missing something, there's only 4 matches, and that's fine, which means a lot of guys are going to get a lot of time, but you've got the 3 title matches and Black versus Cole. If that's all we're getting, that's fine, but it's very strange because typically the NXT pattern is a match for each championship, sometimes including the UK title, and 2 other mid-card storylines. That has been the typical pattern of an NXT takeover. So hopefully we're getting something else, and it just wasn't announced on the show, or we're going to get something surprising that night, or something's going to happen on the pre-show that's going to lead to a match. Now, the NXT year-end awards are going to be handed out during the pre-show for TakeOver, so there might be something that develops out of that. I'm really hoping that we're getting Lars Sullivan versus Killian Dane. Now, they could always add that in at the last minute because it sort of sells itself, but I wish they had promoted it. I mean, Roderick Strong's trying to squeeze his way into that too, but I mean, like, then you're just going to have Roderick Strong that beats the 2 giants and goes back to being Roderick Strong. It's like Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown right now. You can have Dolph Ziggler have a 5-star match, but the next week he's just going to come back and be Dolph Ziggler again, which is kind of unfortunate. Anyways, looking forward to it. There's a lot of stuff being cranked out on this channel right now, so I hope you guys are enjoying it all. Please give me all the feedback you want. Thank you all once again for getting me to 700. I will talk to you guys tomorrow night for the pay-per-view previews, and I hope you guys have a great, great Royal Rumble weekend. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
You're a freak like me.